the Illinois High School Association Football Tournament Championship. Brought to you by Illinois Bell, working to keep your telephone system the best in the world. True Value Hardware, more than just a name, it's their way of doing business. And by Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Chicago. This telecast is originating live and in color from Hancock Stadium in Normal, Bloomington.
Hi, I'm Bob Starr, speaking to you from Tournament Central at the top of Hancock Stadium on the Illinois State University campus in Normal, Illinois. You'll meet my colleague shortly. This marks the 5th year that the Illinois High School Association has conducted statewide football tournaments. We'll be bringing you all the action in the 3 championship games remaining to be played. They'll be tonight and tomorrow. Based on student body size, there are 5 different classes in the IHSA football tournaments. All told, more than 500 teams participated in the playoffs. Along with that large entrance, champions from more than 60 football conferences began the 5-class playoffs following the 9th week of the regular season play this fall. At the beginning of play this afternoon, only finalists remain in each class. The 2 games already completed, and the 3 we will cover tonight and tomorrow, all produce state champions. Conference affiliation and the average size of the student bodies within a league or conference determines the class a school plays in. To arrive at the average conference enrollment, the largest and smallest schools in the league are discounted. Then the average student body size of the remaining schools in the conference determine the class into which any given school is assigned. And with us to assist in our coverage is Floyd Brown. And how about an update on the action thus far?
Thank you very much, Bob. To get a fix on where things stand, let's take a look at this afternoon's scoring. In the first game this afternoon, Arcola defeated Hampshire by a score of 42-14. This one decided the Class 1A tournament championship among schools with an average student body of less than 301. Class 2A competition is made up of schools with average student bodies of between 301 and 518. In our second afternoon game, the Crown went to Stockton over Carlinville, 9-0. Well, so much for this afternoon's play. The third member of our coverage team is Mike Pyle, and he'll tell you about the remaining games.
Thank you, Floyd. In our game tonight, we'll have the 3A final between McNamara of Kankakee and Darnall of Geneseo. This class is made up of schools with average student enrollment between 519 and 988. In our first game tomorrow, starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll be covering the Class 4A championship between LaSalle, Peru and Joliet Catholic. This class embraces schools with an average student body between 989 and 1,869. And at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll have the 5th championship game in our series between St. Rita of Chicago and Buffalo Grove. This one will be for the 5A crown. All of the schools that competed in the 5A class have an average student body of more than 1,869. That's it for now, Floyd.
Thank you, Mike. And now from Tournament Central, it's time to bring you an update on the teams competing for the Class 3A State Football Championship. First, let's take a look at McNamara, which is located in Kankakee, a population of some 30,000 people in Kankakee County. It's 75 miles northeast of Normal, Bloomington. They have an enrollment of 677 students, and they are nicknamed the Fighting Irish, and you'll notice them in gold helmets tonight and with, of course, the color of trim on their uniforms, the green trim on their uniforms. They are coached by a very fine coach. They are led by Captains Kelly O'Connor, Keith Woznowski, and Ronnie Young. They're averaging some 27.8 points per game to the opponent's 10.4. They lost to Geneseo in the quarterfinals last year, but this year they feel that their passing combination of O'Connor to O'Connor is 1 year better. Number 18, Kelly O'Connor, is the quarterback, and his cousin, number 43, Rory O'Connor, at end, is responsible for 736 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 38 receptions. That's not all, though. Kelly O'Connor has passed for 1,443 yards and 13 TDs, and he's run for 1,067 yards and 17 TDs. They say look for a lot of passing out there with the good weather. Mike, what about Geneseo?
Well, Floyd, Darnall High School from Geneseo enters tonight's championship contest seeking its third consecutive 3A state title. Coach Bob Reed's 1978 team has the credentials to achieve their goal. They're 12-0 going into the championship game. Offensively, they're averaging 32 points a game, and their defense has given up only 51 points all season, or an average of 4.3 per contest. They have excellent balance on offense and defense. And what I mean by that is both offense and defense are equally as strong. The offense is led by quarterback Lance Hofer, who threw 2 TD passes in Geneseo's semifinal victory over Sycamore last week in a game they won 25-8. And he kicked a field goal as well. To show you the Maple Leafs' overall strength, Hofer missed 6 straight games with a broken thumb. And now let's go to field side with Bob Starr.
We'll have the starting lineups and the opening kickoff for you shortly, but first, here is the national anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and sing the national anthem.
Now, the beginning lineups for tonight's football game for the 3A championship. First, the defensive team for McNamara in the light jerseys. At left end, number 20, Ron Young. At left tackle, number 75, Keith Winowski. At right tackle, number 78, Chris Sloan. At right end, number 83, Gary Burr. Linebacker, number 50, Mark Cox. Linebacker, number 61, Tony Turo. At middle guard, number 69, Paul Burns. Defensive back, number 43, Rory O'Connor. Defensive back, number 31, Scott Liggett. Defensive back, number 7, Jim Girth. And at safety, number 44, Alan Wyatt. And the coach of McNamara, Rick Zanani. And now, in the dark jerseys, Geneseo. On the offense, number 86 at left end, Chris Ford. At left tackle, number 77, Bruce Westmeyer. At left guard, number 69, Don Pulaski. At center, number 59, Gary Boblet. At right guard, number 62, Mitch Fickling. At right tackle, number 73, Steve Blank. At right end, number 29, Norm Singbush. At quarterback, number 12, Lance Hofer. At halfback, number 35, Bruce Borkgren. At halfback and flanker, number 43, Darren Callow. And the fullback, number 34, Kevin Morris. And the coach of the Maple Leafs, Bob Reed. Well, there you have the starting lineups for the 3A championship game about to get underway for the Maple Leafs and the Fighting Irish. And here to bring you every exciting play-by-play of what we expect to be an exciting football game is the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. Once again, Bob Starr.
Thank you, Floyd Brown. And if we have seen 2 good ones so far this afternoon, this evening should be no different. Geneseo will receive. They go to our left. And kicking off, it'll be McNamara of Kankakee. Their kickoff man is Rory O'Connor, who does the job. We saw some unusual kickoffs today, Mike Pyle. Hampshire used an unusual one early, and you never know what's going to happen and what might happen early in a ball game.
Bob, pretty much straightforward power offenses, both of them. I don't know that we'll see some of the things or the type of things we did see earlier this afternoon. As I said earlier, this is Geneseo is here for the third time, an attempt to win 3 in a row, and Kankakee, McNamara here for the first time. They've never been in a championship game here at Normal Bloomington.
The deep men to return for Geneseo. Number 41 is Derek Skiles. Number 43 is Darren Callow. Rory O'Connor gets set to kick off from the 40. These are 2 fired-up football teams for this 3A championship here tonight. Good crowd on hand. Everybody is dressed warmly and expecting a good fight for this 3A championship.
The Fighting Irish are really high for this ball game.
Here comes the boot by O'Connor, assailing one. Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Finally back to pick it up, and they get it out to around the 16, 17, maybe the 18-yard line. The ball went right under Derek Skiles. And Darren Callow made the return of 7 yards, and Geneseo takes over on their own 18-yard line, where they will put the ball in play. Their quarterback is Lance Hofer. In the backfield with him, Bruce Borkgren, Darren Callow, Kevin Morris. They come out with a pigeon tone wing on the right side and a whistle on the play. And let's see what the call is on the very first down from scrimmage in this 3A championship game.
My guess would be a delay of game. It seemed that they did take a little time to get that play off.
Well, they called it an offside, Mike. And the offside called before they ever got the play underway. So they move it back to just outside the 13-yard line and becomes first down and 15.
I didn't see anyone move, Bob. Did you?
I didn't either. Apparently someone lined up offside, and they called it at the snap. Lance over the quarterback. They go with the wingman on the left side this time. Give inside on the quick pop, and it comes out to about the 19-yard line. Just a straight ahead dive, punching it out. Carrying on the play. Bruce Borkgren, the ball carrier. Got it out near the 20. Picked up about 6. Second down and still long yardage, about 9 yards to go. The man in motion, and they give to the man in motion, coming over to the left side, and good defense on the part of McNamara shuts that down after a gain of perhaps a yard. Darren Callow, the wingback, coming around. Knocked down by the defensive right side for McNamara of Kankakee. Third down and still rather long yardage, about 6 yards to go.
Bob, looks like they're running some sort of series. The first play to Borkgren and the quick pop up the middle. Second play, fake the quick pop up the middle, give it to Darren Callow coming around. And I guess at 3rd and 6, the third in that type of series would be your play action fake and then the pass.
We'll see what they do back on their 23. They call timeout for an equipment change. That's all he needs. Coming over to the sideline to get a new piece of equipment, a new helmet, Don Pulaski, one of the offensive guards. He's a 185-pound senior, 6'1". Geneseo trying to win a 3rd consecutive 3A championship. They have Callow as a wingback on the right side. He goes in motion. They give the quick pop, and that's Borkgren. He gets it out to about the 28, 29-yard line. On the stop for Bishop McNamara, Keith Wanowski, but he did pick up the first down just shy of the 30-yard line. So in spite of mishandling the kickoff and incurring a 5-yard penalty in their opening series, they got it out to around the 30 and pick up the first down territory. Gain of about 6 yards on the play by Borkgren. Bruce Borkgren, B-O-R-K-G-R-E-N. Give to the fullback, Kevin Morris. He gets a couple of 3, maybe to around the 34-yard line. Knifing right up the middle. Coming up off the bottom of the pile was the fellow who knifed underneath there, and that is Mark Cox. It's 5'10", 178, 18-year-old senior from McNamara. Gain of 4, second down and 6. From their own 34-yard line, Callow is the man in motion. Hofer rides it in, keeps it. Now gives to Callow, and he slipped and fell as he tried to turn the corner. Over-covering on the play to make sure he didn't do anything else was Scott Liggett. But really, Callow just tried to make a cut, Mike, and couldn't do much else.
I don't think he had much choice. The defense of the Fighting Irish, McNamara, strung that option play out very well, covered both the quarterback and the trailing back.
It'll bring up 3rd down, and just about 5 yards to go for the first down. They have to reach near the 40-yard line. The ball just shy of the 35 for Geneseo. Opening quarter, 9:07 to go. No score. Callow's the wingman on the right. Give on the counter play. Borkgren is going to be short of the first down. He got to about the 37, 38-yard line. And coming up to make the stop, the defensive end, Ron Young. 5'9", 176. So Geneseo is forced to punt in their second series of downs. Their punter is Gary, I beg your pardon, their punter is Norm Singbush or Lance Hofer. It's going to be Norm Singbush back to punt. Line of scrimmage about the 38-yard line. Hangs it out high, but off the side of his foot. Fair catch is called for in a crowd of folks. And taken in well by Bishop McNamara. On the receiving end of it was Kelly O'Connor. So in this first quarter, it is scoreless. And our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. About 24 yards on that punt. And McNamara takes over in good field position, their own 38-yard line, as Kelly O'Connor comes in to run the offense. He'll have Brian Crossley, Joe McNamara, and Rob Lyons with him in the backfield. McNamara being the flanker in the setup. Kelly O'Connor and Rory O'Connor are the passing combination should they decide to go to the air. They go out of the split the first time. Giving the straight handoff to the right halfback. He gets about 2, maybe 3 to around the 31-yard line. On the carry, it was Rob Lyons. Making the stop was Dan Carlton. Gain of about 3 yards on the play. Second down, about 7 yards to go for McNamara. Kelly O'Connor brings him out. Sends his flanker, Joe McNamara, to the right side. Double tight end set. He wants to go to the air on second down. And it is incomplete. It was intended out on the right side for Rory O'Connor. That is his favorite target. He's a tight end.
Let's take a look at that. Kelly O'Connor on the sprint out right, throwing to his favorite receiver, as Bob pointed out, Rory O'Connor. But a little bit too far out in front of him, not able to connect on that. The two of them have gained 736 yards on 38 pass connections.
He wants to go to the other side. A good rush and firing deep. Nobody can get there. And again, it was intended for the tight end on the left side. And coming out into the left side was Gary Burr. But it was well overthrown.
Excellent selection by Kelly O'Connor, who saw that rush coming in and just got rid of that ball and didn't put enough steam on it to get it by everybody to not risk the interception.
He threw it about 35 or 40 yards in the air, and he was off balance when he threw it. It shows this kid really does have a strong arm, and we can see why he's gained over 1,400 yards with his passing this year. But don't forget, he's gained over 1,000 yards running, and this could be interesting too.
Punting situation, Gary Burr is the punter for McNamara. They'll run 3 men deep, and back in the middle deep is Norm Singbush on the return. They run 2 men up short of him, about at the 40-yard line. Not a bad kick, sailing down to Singbush at his own 26. Gets a block, needs to turn it outside and cannot. And great pursuit coming downfield was Mark Cox to make the tackle on Singbush at about the 28-yard line. And a 33-yard punt overall, and Geneseo will take over at that spot. So we're in the first quarter. It is scoreless. And we'll continue with our state high school football championships after this.
You've got to keep it up if you want to be happy. Keep it up. Stepping, snapping, moving your feet to the beat of a brand new day. What do you say? Hey, you got to keep it up. Jogging in the sunshine, running through the park, having a fun time, drinking a Coke, 'cause Coke adds life to these thirsty rusty feet of mine. Keep it up now, Coke adds life. Coca-Cola adds life.
They ran a flanker counter, got a couple of yards, second down and about 8. Hofer to throw, and had the man there, and Singbush up at about the 50, a little bit behind him, and it falls incomplete. Bring up third down and about 8 yards to go for Geneseo, just barely outside their own 30-yard line. This is their second possession here in this first quarter. 6 minutes, 36 seconds to play in the first quarter of this scoreless 3A championship game. Callow is the wingback on the right side. Have Morris and Borkgren as the running backs. Man in motion, fake the give, and Hofer's going to keep and try to go up the middle. Gets a few. Got it across the 35 out to about the 37-yard line. The stop made by Keith Wanowski. They will mark it near first down yardage, but it's perhaps about a yard shy. They'll mark it just outside the 37 and will be about a yard shy. And so again, McNamara has shut down the offense, Mike, and forced Geneseo to kick it out of there.
Bob, that's a nice football play that he just ran, where he fakes that play to Borkgren, and then Hofer on that short yardage third down situation draws everybody in there. He just took a little roll and up a pretty good hole.
The deep man for McNamara is Kelly O'Connor. Singbush gets it away. No flag on the punt. It's going to hit and get a good roll, and now it's fielded by O'Connor, dangerously so, at the 25-yard line, and down he goes. Down covering in a hurry was Dan Pulaski. They'll mark it at the 25. That is a little dangerous.
That's rather courageous, I thought, but he saved him about 10 yards because it was bounding in the other direction, but it was courageous.
He's a heads-up ball player. You can tell that. He's watching that man coming down the field and saw that he kind of ran by, didn't really have his eye on him, and took a chance and took the ball.
Kelly O'Connor gives out to the fullback, and coming up the middle on the carry is Brian Crossley. He gets it out to near the 30-yard line. Gain of almost 5 yards on the play.
Let's take a look at Brian Crossley on this running play. No fake, just to the second man in the I formation. Man up front blocking for him, and a pretty good hole. Offensive line pushing the defensive line back.
Gain of about 4, second down and 6 near their own 30-yard line. O'Connor wants to keep and slips outside, and he is dragged down. Good defensive play. Tried to come over the right side and just catch somebody napping and did not do it. We'll check a number on the tackler for you. And it was one of the defensive tackles, or perhaps the nose guard in there, and that is Gary Boblett. They got him by the jersey and dragged him down. Virtually no gain. He got about a half yard. It'll be third down and 5. Now Geneseo wants to call a timeout and talk some things over. So it's a third down and 5 situation for McNamara, just outside their own 30-yard line, scoreless with 4:46 to play in the first quarter.
This kid that was just shown on the screen a few moments ago, number 22, Brian Crossley, is just a sophomore. And all of the games that we've seen previously here, they've all been upperclassmen. We've seen a lot of seniors. And here in 3A, with two fine teams such as this, it's interesting to see a sophomore out in the starting lineup. And he's been outstanding for them. He's run for over 1,300 yards for the Fighting Irish. They're starting 2 sophomores in that starting backfield. It's kind of interesting to see what happens when you get against a team that is as experienced as Geneseo, and to find 2 sophomores in the lineup.
Let's pause now 5 seconds for station identification.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, Television 9.
Third down play. Flankers wide to the right side. Kelly O'Connor gives to Crossley, breaks it across the 35, out to around the 38, and picks up the first down. The young man that Floyd was just talking about picks up the first down. Coming up to make the stop for Geneseo was Don Carlton, playing into the defensive secondary.
Brian Crossley is an outstanding football player. Here we see the hole opening up. There he is breaking a tackle. As Floyd said, he is one of the key players in that McNamara offense.
They pick up the first down at their own 39-yard line. Again to Crossley, and Crossley breaks it across the 50 to about the 49 and into Geneseo territory for the first time tonight. And McNamara shows you a little quickness coming up on the stop.
Here he is, again through a big hole. They're finding those holes in the middle of the line. You can see the offensive line of McNamara pushing those defenders out of the way, giving him plenty of running room.
They picked up 12, and Lance Hofer, who plays safety And the defensive setup for Geneseo came up to make the stop. It is first down at the 49 of Geneseo. Flanker wide to the right, double tight end set. And again, it's Crossley, this time only a couple of yards to about the 47-yard line. That time, Geneseo was able to stack it up with a good play from inside. On the tackle was Dan Carlton.
This is Geneseo's offense. They're running back at him now. Power football right up the middle.
They're really showing very good quickness right now, getting off the ball. Joe McNamara is the flanker, wide to the right. To Crossley, the tailback, to the 44-yard line. And down he goes. So they're still going to be about 5 yards shy of a first down.
The interior of that McNamara line isn't really that big. The center, Tony Turo, is 6 foot, 176. Guard Mark Cox, 5'10", 178. And guard Paul Burns, 6 foot, 173. And yet they are moving that defense out.
Gary Boblet made the stop, and Kelly O'Connor wants to throw on a screen, is setting up, and he gets it off to Crossley. To the 45, 40, and to the 37-yard line, and a flag was thrown after he was banged out of bounds. Coming over to knock him out of bounds. Getting on the stop was Dan Carlton. They picked up the first down yardage, a gain of 7 yards on the screen pass.
Let's see if we can see this. A well set up screen. O'Connor drops back, way back, to set up the screen. There's plenty of blocking out in front of Crossley that you can't see there. He decides to go out around, and Don Carton drives him out of bounds. And it looked like Carton did get a hold of Crossley's face mask, and I think that will be. Let's see if that is the case here, if he gets a hand on that face mask. Here comes Carton. Oh, there's the hand on the face mask. It's not Carton in this case. It was Norm Singbush getting a hand on Crossley's face mask, and the penalty was walked off in favor of McNamara.
Great camera coverage too, Crew.
That moves it down to the 24-yard line, and they shift into the power I. Again to Crossley, and he's been a workhorse in this drive. He gets only a couple of yards coming up the middle there. Carlton again on the stop, and knifing in from underneath one of the defensive tackles, Steve Blank, for Geneseo. They stop him at about the 22, a gain of only a couple. Second down and 8 now for McNamara. But this is the closest thing to a scoring threat as we've had in this first quarter, with 2 minutes and 39 seconds to play in a scoreless game. 3A championship here at Illinois State University. McNamara goes wide to the right side, and they shift out of the power I and come out this time with their back split. Second down 8 situation. Kelly O'Connor takes to Crossley. He's going to keep, fumbles the ball. A flag is down. He's still going to get some yardage. Got it to the 20 and maybe to the 19-yard line. Lance Hoper coming up from the secondary, coming over to help force him out. And a flag down on the play, also helping out Nick Panacucci. And a procedure call is going to go against McNamara of Kankakee. This particular drive started back around the 25-yard line of McNamara. Crossley has carried 6 times, 33 yards. Penalty moves the ball back to the 28-yard line. Now it is second down and about 13 yards to go. They mark it at the 27. Second down, about 13. Kelly O'Connor at quarterback. Gives off to Crossley. Hit and dropped for no gain. Good play by the defensive tackle. That is Steve Blank, who made the stop. He's 5'11", 205. He's a senior. They got no gain on it. They mark it back at the 27-yard line. Third down and still long yardage.
Good penetration by Blank. Let's see if we can watch him. He's the right tackle. There's Crossley, and Blank just overpowered the blocker and made the stop in the backfield. Boy, that's excellent defensive tackle play when you can make that penetration.
McNamara's wide right, double tight end set. O'Connor wants to throw and looks. It's for Rory O'Connor, and overthrown at about the 10-yard line. It'll bring up fourth down and still 13 yards to go at the Geneseo 27-yard line for McNamara. Tomorrow, 2 more games for you. The 4A and 5A championship. 4A tomorrow afternoon, the 5A tomorrow night. We've had 2 championships already settled here today and some fine football played. And we've not been disappointed so far in this one. Checking back into the offensive set for McNamara is Rob Lyons.
They've brought in, it looks like, the field goal team going to attempt a field goal from the 35-yard line, which would make that a 45-yard attempt.
And Rory O'Connor, who is their kickoff man, also their field goal man, would be kicking out of the hold of Kelly O'Connor, but a delay of the game call is going to cost them 5 more. And let's see if they will continue to try for that. They'll mark it back at the 32-yard line. Tell you, if he makes this one, boys, I want his autograph.
Well, there goes the tee off the field. Too much time making the decision on that 45-yard attempt.
Gary Burr will do the punting, and perhaps will try to get it out of bounds and nail Geneseo deep. Hangs it out, and it takes a bounce inside the 5. The impetus is going to carry him into the end zone or not.
He's going to give it to him.
Geneseo will be nailed back around their 1 or perhaps inside the 1 on a 31-yard punt.
Tough break. Now we get a chance to look at it. A good bounce on that punt, and he slides in, but they say the ball will go down at the point where he touched it, which is exactly where they have put the football.
Although it was a bit of a blur on the screen, it looked like Mitch Fickling may have been the fellow who downed it right about the 1-yard line, and that's where Geneseo has to put it in play. So they have their backs to the wall. Lance Hofer gives inside. The fullback barrels right up the middle, gets maybe 2 or 3, but not much more than that. On the carry was Kevin Morris, the fullback for Geneseo. They're in the dark jerseys here tonight.
Geneseo has not had the best of it on field position so far here in this first quarter.
They run the alternating linemen, bringing in the plays for Lance Hofer. 2nd down. Long yardage. Borkgren gets it out across the 10 to near the 13-yard line before he is tripped up. Rory O'Connor in on the tackle. They'll mark it at about the 13, and they get the first down. Borkgren with 9 yards so far.
McNamara employing a collegiate type 5-2 defense. Pretty much straight 5-man line, the 2 middle guard, 2 linebackers inside.
Hofer gives off again, this time to Borkgren on the counter, coming over the right side, over to his own right tackle, gets it out to about the 17-yard line. Rory O'Connor up again to help out on the stop. We're counting down to the end of this first quarter. The ball resting out at the 18-yard line. 2nd down, about 5 yards to go. They may not get the play off, and they will not get it off before the end of the quarter. So that is the end of the first quarter here at Illinois State University. There is no score, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. We've had a scoreless first period of play, and now Geneseo trying to work themselves out of a bit of a jam. They have a 2nd down and 5 situation out at their own 18-yard line. And young ladies never lose their enthusiasm regardless of the score, and you get into a tie ball game or a tight one of any kind, and they're going to be super energetic.
Yeah, and some of these girls have been here before. Those are the Geneseo cheerleaders.
You can tell they've been here before by the way they're dressed. They know it gets cold down here. It gets horrible. Last year we really tipped our hats to them.
So Hofer brings them out. 2nd down and 5. Fakes and keeps. Is in a little trouble. He's going to tuck it and go to about the 18 and got a couple of yards out of it, but not anymore. Thought for a moment he was going to give it on the counter play to the wingback coming around, but he did not.
Here's the replay on that. Fake the handoff. Really kind of hard to tell whether he might pass that ball, but I think it was a run all the way. And Hofer decides to better not keep going outside and cuts it back up, and the pursuit was there to make the stop.
Wanowski was in on the tackle. Gary Burr in on the tackle. 3rd down. Still about 2 yards to go. Flag on the play. Borkgren slanting over his own right tackle. Comes to near 1st down yardage. We'll see what the flag is all about. A motion penalty. Backfield in motion, the call against Geneseo. And the defense might just call for a measurement to see here whether they do have first down yardage or not, whether they want to accept the penalty or take the down and possibly force them into a punting situation if it's a fourth down situation in very, very short yardage. And at this position on the field, one would suspect that Geneseo would be happy to kick it out if they are shy of the first down and the penalty is declined, Mike.
Well, I certainly think so.
And they are going to be short of the first down by just a couple of feet, it appears. So they have something to talk about offensively and defensively.
Good chance to second guess the coach. What would you call under the circumstances?
I think I would decline the penalty and figured that they would kick it. But that's why I'm sitting up here and the guys are down there coaching on the sideline. Folks, they just took the penalty.
I'll tell you what, this way, well, I don't know. That's
well, it takes a little bit of the gamble out of it.
That one right there is where a coach is over there in the sideline. Something we can't see. He's tossing a coin.
Well, I always wanted to be a coach until I thought better of it. So now becomes 3rd down and 7. Whistles on the play as they were going to run the counter play with the wingback coming around. And that was going to be Callow. Now let's see what the call is here. Now perhaps Geneseo, no, this time they're going to be nailed again for a motion penalty. Illegal procedure. And that will move them back even farther. The line of scrimmage having been about the 16-yard line. This will move it back to about the 11.
Making the coach's call look better all the time.
Yeah, it sure is. And they were really mixed up on that one. I think linemen, backfield, they're all a little mixed up on that play.
So they run the play in from the sideline. Mitch Bickling runs it in. They bring Callow wide to the left side. They put a wide man to the right side. Lance Hofer gives on a quick pop inside, and that's to Borkman. He gets it out to about the 15, 16, 17-yard line as the ball popped free, but the whistle had blown, blowing it dead, and now Geneseo forced into a punting situation on a 4th down, and still a little bit better than perhaps 6 yards to go. Norm Singbush is their punter, and again, McNamara figures to take over in pretty good field position.
Geneseo, who has a very much a balanced attack, sticking with the running game, which has been their bread and butter, but in all situations.
Kelly O'Connor, Rory O'Connor, Joe McNamara, all back. As Singbush now can't get the snap in time, and they'll probably have a delay of the game call here that will cost them 5 more and make it 4th down, and perhaps about 11 or 12 yards to go. And they will be punting from even deeper in their territory.
Getting dangerously close down there.
It's been a difficult series of downs for Geneseo. Not many things have gone right for them here. They opened this series from deep in their own territory, about the 1-yard line.
I might say that wind is not a factor at all in this ball game. We're looking at some balloons floating out here in the stands, and they're moving almost nowhere.
There you'll get a good shot of the snap, and it's a good one, and Norm Singbush hangs it out end over end, sailing down toward Kelly O'Connor. He will try to catch it and does at his knees at about the 42-yard line of Geneseo, and again McNamara takes over in very, very good field position.
Yes, those 3 penalties were definitely costly in giving McNamara the field position inside Geneseo territory.
31-yard punt, and sometimes those penalties, Mike, and not to put the arm on anybody, but they are concentration type of penalties, and you can see in a game like this where the situation is very intense for both sides, your concentration can sometimes go awry on you for a bit. Kelly O'Connor's a quarterback for McNamara, and a quick pop to Rob Lyons on a dive inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line as he was tripped up. They will mark it for a gain of about 4. 2nd down, about 6 yards to go.
And that concentration, Bob, includes the coaches. We've seen a couple of delay of game penalties, a little slow getting those plays and personnel into the field, and the coaches are going through the same thing the players are. The pressure's on them as well.
2nd down call now for Kelly O'Connor and McNamara of Kankakee. Off to Brian Crossley, hit sharply and got perhaps a yard, but no more than that, and perhaps not even that much on the play. Getting off the pile for Geneseo is the first man to get him, Gary Boblett. who got an arm on him and wrapped him around, slung him to the ground. Still be a 3rd down and close to 6 situation. Rather short 6 perhaps. McNamara coming out wide to the right side. Off to Crossley on the pitch. Being ridden out on the far side. Did he get first down yardage? It's around the 32-yard line. Coming over to help out, Dan Carton. Dan Carton is 5'11", 175, a senior. They mark it right on the sideline. They will measure from that point and see if he got the first down yardage. And it appears as though from here at the 32, he is about, a yard short of the first down.
Looking at Kankakee's statistics in the first quarter, we see that the running game has been their success. Crossley had 33 yards in 7 attempts, and O'Connor passing 1 for 4 and 7 yards.
4th down, about a yard to go for McNamara at the 32 of Geneseo. Give to Crossley, slipping off tackles, trying to get wide. They hem him in, they stop him. Let's see where they place his forward motion. All of this now depends on the placement of the ball as they unpile on the far side. He tried to slip to the outside, and the defense filled in good shape coming up from the secondary. And this becomes a very important measurement. They held. They do not measure. Geneseo is held, and they take over on their own 32-yard line, first down at that point. So we're in the second quarter, and it is still scoreless, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. First down for Geneseo. They held. Did a good defensive job, Mike. They strung that thing out and wouldn't let Crossley slip to the outside and turn it upfield and shut him down just maybe a foot or so shy of a first down.
Geneseo rose to the occasion. It was beautiful defensive play.
Callow is the wing back on the right side, coming in motion. This is Kevin Morris, the fullback. Bowls his way across the 45 and down to the 46 and maybe the 47-yard line. Best carry of the night for the fullback. They pick up first down yardage. Gain of about 15 yards on the play.
This is the best field position that Geneseo has had so far, and it seems to have brought them to life. Or
well,
maybe stopping them on defense did it.
Sure, a defensive play like that, just give them a little boost.
First down called. Callow's in motion again off to Borkgren. He gets near the 49, may have fallen to close to the 50, but not quite there. And the defensive front knifed underneath to stop it. And for McNamara of Kankakee, Mark Cox playing as a defensive guard. Knifed underneath, or playing as a linebacker, I should say. Got a chance to stack it up after a gain of about 2 yards, perhaps slightly better than 2. We'll call it a gain of about 3 and second down and 7. Fake, and they fumble the handoff, and McNamara has recovered at the 47-yard line. Lance Hover was going to make the fake inside on the handoff, pulled it back, and it wasn't there. And making the recovery for McNamara was Paul Burns. 18-year-old senior, 6-footer, 173 pounds, and he gives the ball right back to McNamara in Geneseo territory at the 47-yard line. That's the young fellow that picked it off. That's Paul Burns. So Kelly O'Connor runs the offense again for McNamara. Gives to Rob Lyons. He gets inside the 45, spinning off and down to around the 43-yard line before he is stopped. Making the tackle, Dan Carton. C-A-R-T-O-N, and I apologize for calling him Carlton. I was reading an L in there earlier in the game. They gained about 4. Second down and a little bit better than 6. This is Joe McNamara, the wingback on the right side, out of your picture there. Brian Crossley hit right at the 43-yard line, the line of scrimmage, and this Geneseo defensive line has started to toughen up a little bit now and stack some people up, trying to shut down the running game, which has been very effective for McNamara.
And here's your man, linebacker Dan Carton, on an isolation. He goes right through the hole and makes the stop, and with a good hit.
And that comes from reading your keys right.
That's exactly right, Bob.
He's following
played that real well. You also look for that opening to come up through, and that's what Carton did.
Third down play, screen pass set up, and Kelly's in trouble, but he flips it off and gets it over to Rob Lyons to the 40, and he's banged out of bounds around the 37, 38-yard line. Lance Hofer made the stop on him coming up from the secondary for Geneseo. A gain of about 4 yards overall on a screen pass setup. And I'll say one thing for McNamara. They set the screen up dropping way back there. That's unusual.
Yep.
You don't see it very often.
Here we get a look at it. Boy, he's way deep.
You didn't catch it in the replay there, but Kelly O'Connor made an excellent fake to the other side before spinning. So he even aided the sweep coming around the screen, coming around this side by his actions. He's a fine quarterback.
They are about a yard short of a first down near the 38-yard line of Geneseo. 4th down and about a yard to go. Another tough defensive down for Geneseo. Power I set up strong to the left. Give to Crossley. Do they let him string it out? They do not. They don't let him string it out. And coming up from the secondary was Dennis Robertson, a 5'11", 155-pound
Let's
senior
take a look
for
at that
Geneseo.
play by Dennis Robertson. There's Crossley sliding outside where he thinks he sees an opening, and Dennis Robertson coming up from the defensive back position.
Well, we're in the second quarter. It is scoreless in the second quarter, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. Those are the young ladies of the loyal opposition, as they were. Those are the young ladies from McNamara of Kankakee. They are across the way from us here at Illinois State University at Hancock Stadium. Good defensive play by Geneseo has given them the football back at their own 39-yard line. Lance Hofer runs them at quarterback and brings Callow in motion and gives off to his fullback, Kevin Morris. He loses the football. It is loose, and Hofer dives back in. Did he get it? It appears as though Lance Hofer was able to dive back in there and gather in the football, and they do maintain possession. That takes a little courage for quarterback to dive back in amongst those big linemen and try
Let's
to
watch that play again. There's Hofer on the fake, but he gives it to the fullback who does not get his hands on a ball. This is their bread and butter play, the option play. Give to the fullback or quarterback, keep it and run the option. Have not had much luck with it tonight.
They lost about a half yard, 2 yard, near their own 39, but not quite there. Second down, a little bit better than 10, and Hofer wants to put it up. See what the southpaw can do with it. A flag goes down as there was contact made downfield. The defensive coverage was supplied by Scott Liggett, and the intended receiver appeared to be Norm Singbush, and they got tangled up, and an interference call will be made. It'll go against McNamara.
Yep, Scott Liggett, a little extracurricular activity. Let's see if we can get a hold on it here. Watch number 31, Scott Liggett. See the push. I don't think there was any question about that one, Bob.
No, none whatsoever. It was a situation of perhaps, okay, perhaps I can get by with this, because if I don't get by with it, I may get beat on the pass play. So the penalty will move it down to the 46-yard line into McNamara territory. It is first down.
Geneseo's first trip into McNamara's territory for the night, too.
And I know both of you are waiting for me at some time during the course of the evening to call McNamara's defense or offensive unit McNamara's band, right? You're waiting for me to say that. This is Geneseo on the offense, and they run Callow over to the left side and put him on the wing. Give to Kevin Morris. The big fullback is on his way to the 30-yard line, to the 29-yard line before he's finally dragged down. Getting him from behind and coming off the defensive line to get him from behind was good pursuit by Tony Turo, a 6-footer and 176
Here's the play,
pounder.
giving it right to Morris. Nice blocking by the line. Gave him not a big opening, but enough to get through, and a big gainer.
17-yard pickup on the play. First down.
Turo must be a strong kid. He had him by the jersey with one arm, and he held him.
Lance Hofer with a wing on the right gives again to Kevin Morris, the fullback slanting to the left side inside the 25 to around the 24-yard line. The defensive right end for McNamara making the tackle. That is Gary Burr, 170-pounder, 5'10". Mike, you look at the sizes, they're all pretty much in the same category. McNamara has 3 or 4 200-pounders on their squad, and Geneseo all about the same size, all with pretty good quickness, good mobility. Second down, about 5 yards to go. Off this time to Borkgren. To around the 21-yard line, coming over his own right tackle. Again, Tony Turo knifing in there to get a piece of the action. Also helping out on the play was Mark Cox.
Okay, here's an isolation on Mark Cox, the linebacker. Down.
Down.
And a piece of the action. but he got tripped up pretty good.
This is Kevin Morris to the 20-yard line, trying to slant it off. Coming up on the hit was the defensive left end. That is Ron Young. He wears number 20. Let's see where they mark it down.
One thing I've noticed about this Geneseo offense is they really are a well-drilled football team. If you watch how they come off the ball at the snap, I mean, they're almost offside. It looks like the timing is just outstanding. It's a way that I was taught as a center, to actually snap the ball a half a count after the regular count to give those other linemen a chance. It looks like they're moving just as he snaps the ball. It really is good, and they're coming off the ball well.
They're just inches shy of a first down, but they get it this time, and it goes to Borkman, and he counters the right side and gets it down to near the 15-yard line.
No question about that one. Let's look at that offensive line come off. You see how quick they are. Drive that defense back. More than enough for the first down.
Borkman has 37 yards carried so far. So it is first down at the 15. What Mike is talking about, a snap count of Hut 2, and the ball goes on Hut, and everybody else goes on 2. And that's about what you're talking about. Here's the fullback. That is Kevin Morris, getting just a little bit inside the 15.
Really the other way around. You snap the ball on 2, and the linemen go on Hut and a half. Although I didn't do that too often because I was too slow. I'd snap it at least a half a count earlier than the rest of the offensive linemen. I had to. But that's really, in essence, what they're doing. If it's on 2, center's going on 2, and they're going on 1.5.
No wonder I was always slow getting off the ball. They got about 3 yards, second down and about 7. The ball resting near the 12-yard line in McNamara territory. This is Lance Hofer at quarterback. Gives to Borkman. Good defensive play. They knock him down at about the 11-yard line. Coming in underneath, Jim Girth was the first man there coming out of the defensive secondary and saw that thing develop and knifed in and tripped him up. So they got really only a yard to a yard and a half on it. Third down. Still a long 6 to go at the 11-yard line of McNamara. Geneseo on the move. Second quarter. 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Scoreless game at this point. The Callow is wide to the left side. Hofer with the pitch. And it gets inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line as Callow carried on the play.
This kid Callow is very short. He's low to the ground. He drives like Billy Merrick, one of the lower driving backs that you've seen. He puts his head down and bears down. It's getting very tough as they near the goal line down. You see him on your screen. He's a halfback. He also lines up at flanker. Darren Callow, fine runner for the Geneseo Darnall team.
Ball is resting right around the 8-yard line, perhaps slightly inside the 8-yard line. Fourth down and about 2 yards to go for Geneseo. Very tight situation. That's Lance Hofer talking it over on the sideline with his coach.
Well, they're a power football team, and we will have an opportunity to really see now what the coach was thinking at the other end of the field when he chose not to take a chance on them with fourth and short yardage, knowing that they are a power football team. Let's get them back and give our fellows an opportunity to hold. That time the decision was good. However, this time he has no choice in the matter except to tell the guys to hold and perhaps try to anticipate what Geneseo will do with the ball when they get it back. I'm not going to ask you to make this call, Coach.
Well, I think they will probably go for it down there and try to wedge it out, see if they can pick.
Key on Brian Crosley on that play, and they've been stopping him consistently, and I expected them to go to a little play action and maybe O'Connor to O'Connor. The connection might start to work for him. Time is in down in the field. Back to you, Bob.
Let's see how they run it. They go with a wishbone set in the backfield. They go to Borkman over the right side, but a flag is down. They picked up the necessary yardage, wedging it out over the right side inside the 5-yard line, Floyd, but a flag is down, and that gain and the first down may be nullified, and it is apparently going to be nullified on a backfield and motion call against Geneseo, and that's going to cost them.
Maybe they went on that half count that Mike was talking about, and they caught him in the backfield. That really is illegal motion if you can detect this thing happening. I suppose if everybody moves at once, it's something that you can get away with it. You really have to be drilled at it.
That kind of a penalty really hurts you. Now they're faced with a fourth down and almost 8 yards to go, just outside the 13-yard line of McNamara. Here is a position where we may see him try to put it up.
they've been extremely successful coming off tackle, particularly off this left side. We'll see what happens.
Hofer does want to throw, and he does, and it's complete down to the 1-yard line. He slipped coming out from under center and did put it up and did complete it. Making the reception was Scott Specht. It appeared, let's see, we'll check a number for you. It is not Scott Specht, it is number 86, and that is Chris Ford who took it in. A gain of 12 yards on the play. It's down to the 1, and it sets up the 1st and goal for Geneseo. Inside a minute to play in this first half. Off to Borkgren. Flags are down. The whistle is blown. And we will again see what the call is here. It's apparently, from the indication, going to go against Geneseo. It is an offside call. So that hurts. Well, here's 2 tough penalties down in here. They have overcome one, Floyd. Let's see if they can overcome another. That'll move it back to the 6-yard line.
They've certainly had their share of penalties, and maybe the fact that they are fired up and trying to get off the ball quickly is causing them the difficulty that they are having. That time the call seemed to be on the line as well. It was the official there right at the line of scrimmage who called the offside, the motion penalty.
1st and goal to go at the 6-yard line of McNamara. Hofer to the 2nd man through, and that is Callow spinning off and gets about 4 down to around the 2-yard line before he is knocked off his feet. Making the stop for McNamara was Gary Burr. The defensive end, they will mark it at the 2-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and goal to go at the McNamara 2. Time running out in this first half. 30 seconds to play in the first half as Geneseo comes out over the ball. They go with a full house in the backfield. They give off to Borkgren, and he is in for the touchdown. In for the score, Bruce Borkgren.
Well, it's a straight handoff to Borkgren, who's coming in from the back, the deep back position. He gets up ahead of steam and powers into the line, drives across, and we see the first score with 22 seconds remaining here in the first half of play in the 3A championship. Geneseo draws first blood.
You really have to compliment them overcoming 2 tough penalties deep in that territory. The try for the point after. It is good. So with 22 seconds, it is 7-0.
Here's another look at the touchdown. You can see it was a quick hitter. Maybe we'll get it from another angle here. You'll be able to see it more closely. Here's another angle. You can see it at ground level there. This is the one that we saw from the other side. Hard to see him dive in, but from the back, you could really tell that they were piled up, and he went it through. Not much of a hole, just powered his way through just a little crack in the line, driving into the end zone. So the score is 7-0, 22 seconds left here in the first quarter of play. Geneseo really had not had the best of it on offense during the first half. They had poor field position throughout the first half, but for the first time, I think they got good field position, and they drove for a score. You can tell by that this is an extremely important factor. The Fighting Irish seem to still be fired up. They are not going to give up, and if the first 2 contests we've seen today is any indication, there's not going to be any let up in the intensity of football for this championship play tonight. Back to you, Bob.
I think you have to look back at a couple of defensive downs on 4th down situations, Floyd, where they shut down McNamara and took control of the ball. The last one helped them to get this drive underway. It's a short kick, and it is fielded, but whistles blow as the kick was made. So they will bring it back. Fielding the kick, but making no attempt to run it back for McNamara was Scott Liggett. He was one of the up men. They have back deep Rob Lyons in the middle, flanked by Rory O'Connor on his left and Joe McNamara on his right. And the penalty will go against Geneseo. Move it back to the 35-yard line. Kickoff man is Lance Hofer.
Geneseo's been racking them up 5 yards at a time, but they've really gotten quite a few penalties here in the first half of play.
Only 22 seconds remain to be played in this first half, and Bruce Borkgren put Geneseo on top 6-0 with a little 2-yard romp. Not a little 2-yard romp. It was wedged out in tough territory to gain yardage in, but they made it work. So they have taken the lead. McNamara will get the ball with little time remaining. A low squib type of kick. Coming over to O'Connor, Rory O'Connor, on the return, gets it across the 35, out to around the 37-38. 17 seconds showing on the clock now. Coming down to get in on the hit for Geneseo. On their special team, the kickoff team, was Jeff Chad.
I would anticipate with 17 seconds to go that they'll say, give him the short stuff and let's guard against the deep pass. And O'Connor can throw long.
Kelly O'Connor going to keep it himself. Gets about a couple to the 40, trying to slip off the left side, but couldn't get anything out of it. On the tackle was Randy Russell. And so there's the horn, ending the first half of play here at Illinois State University as Geneseo leaves the field with a 7-0 lead. And we have to look back to a defensive series that gave them the football right around their own 40-yard line where they started their final drive. They got down inside the 5-1. And they absorbed 2 penalties deep down in the territory. Still had to overcome those. They were able to overcome the penalties and take it in from 2 yards out as Bruce Borkman went in. So it's been a good first half of football. Some fine defensive football played on the part of both sides and some excellent offensive football played as well. Now, let's switch to Tournament Central.
Thank you, Bob. We'll have a summary for you on the first half very shortly, and then we'll be switching down to the field so that you can meet some of the cheerleaders here in Hancock Stadium. We'll get started right after this.
Representative.
I think we're in for a heck of a second half of football. 7-0 right now. Geneseo is on top. They scored with just 22 seconds to play in the first half. We saw McNamara move into Geneseo territory. Geneseo was able to shut them down and then lost the ball to them again, but shut them down again in a key 4th down situation. Take the ball around the 40 and then sustain their final drive to get into the end zone. And in so doing, deep in McNamara territory, Geneseo had to overcome a couple of penalties that really hurt when you get down into that part of the field, but they were able to do that. And finally, it was Bruce Borkman who went in from 2 yards out. The conversion attempt was good, and with 22 seconds remaining to be played in the first half of play, Geneseo took in a 7-0 lead in this 3A championship game. Just a couple of passing stats here because we've not had much throwing here this evening, but O'Connor, 2 out of 4 for 11 yards. Crossley running 12 times for 39 yards, and he was the best runner Kankakee had on the field, running out of the tailback spot. So the makings are there. It was a scoreless first quarter, and then late in the second quarter, it was Geneseo able to get on top by a score of 7-0. Some outstanding defensive and offensive play by these two 3A teams, and certainly the second half bodes well for much of the same kind of football. It's been an outstanding first half of play. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've seen these youngsters go from sideline to sideline, see them make key 4th down plays and in short yardage situations on both sides. A couple of miscues, some penalties, and everything that goes into making a football game. But you just can't believe the intensity that these youngsters play with when you get into a championship situation. If you've been in one, then you understand. If you've never been there, it is a tremendous feat to get on the field, be in a championship situation like the youngsters have been this afternoon and are here tonight. Maintain your concentration and execute. Remember the snap count, remember the play, remember the assignments. Try not to make any late hits. Try not to make any mistakes. All of those things come into play in a championship football game, and we're seeing that here this evening. Well, so much for the wrap-up on the first half, and later on, during the intermission, we hope to have some videotape highlights for you on the play thus far. Our coverage will continue after this. We're between halves in the Class 3A Illinois High School Association Football Championship game, and it's time to switch down at the field for an interview that we promised.
Okay, and I'll tell you what, we're not quite ready for the interview, but we're going to take a look at the marching bands here during the halftime activity. And now let's take a look at the Bishop McNamara High School Marching Band here in Hancock Stadium. McNamara High School Marching Band has 70 players in it. It's directed by Gary Brinkman. Julie Trudeau and Bob Tompkins are the drum majors for the outstanding Bishop McNamara Band. Okay, well, one of the gals here, one of the girls just said that thing is pointing at us, and she was talking about the camera. So we are on the air, and these are the Bishop McNamara cheerleaders, and girls, you're on the air. How about that? I'd like to ask you your name and your class, and maybe we'll get a little information about you cheerleaders. What is your name, dear?
Carol Platt.
Carol Platt. And next?
Lana House.
Okay, I know you girls now. You had a story about the water boy or something.
His name is Kenny Delabray, and he's been the water boy all year, and he's really dedicated, and we'd just like to thank him.
You just like him, huh?
Yeah, no, we just like to thank him.
Yeah, well, I think that's great. You're thanking Kenny the water boy. Why don't we move down and introduce some of the other gals here?
I'm Denise Hoekstra.
Thank you, Denise. What class are you?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior. You might be back next year.
I hope so. I hope we win, though. Hi, my name's Ann McGovern.
And what class are you, Ann?
I'm a junior.
Thank you, Ann.
What do I say?
What is your name, dear?
Renee Powell.
Thank you, Renee. We've got to move pretty fast here because there are a lot of cheerleaders in this Bishop McNamara team.
Amy Huggins, Jr.
Thank you.
What am I supposed to say?
I want to know your name, dear.
Valerie Kress.
Okay, and stay in front of the camera so we can see you.
Julie Kier.
Okay, and what's your name?
Lisa Hewitt.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'm Allison Dupree.
What class are you? You're a sophomore. You wear a little different uniform to denote a sophomore. Okay, thank you.
I'm Peggy Mulaney. I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Mary Vogt.
Hi, Mary. What class are you? You're a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Okay, and finally.
Lori Lamott.
Hi, Lori. How are you? And that is the cheerleading squad. I said there's a lot of them from Bishop McNamara. And now let's go back out onto the field and watch some more of the band routines. Another one of the high school marching bands is going to move out on the field in just a moment, and we'll be continuing with that and other coverage right after this. And now on the field, or coming onto the field, is the other marching band in this 3A championship game tonight, and of course that is the Geneseo High School Marching Band, and we've had excellent bands and cheerleaders all afternoon in this evening game. The Geneseo Band is on the field now, so let's take a look at them. I might mention that the Geneseo Marching Band is 208 members strong, and you can see that they're pretty doggone good. And now we have a group of cheerleaders that are pretty doggone good. And I lost my earphone again, girls. I'm just having a terrible time. But having you pretty girls around will get me back going here. Now what I'd like to do, we've got a lot of girls here, so if we can, we'll move through pretty quick. And why don't you give your name and what class you're in, and why don't you let me know if you think you'll be back here next year and if you think you're going to win your third in a row.
Okay, my name's Michelle Rice, and I'm a senior, and I'm sure we'll be back next year. And I'm very proud because this is the third game I've had a chance to cheer in at the state championship.
Well, that's great. You'd love to see it 3 in a row, wouldn't you?
And we'd all like to say hi back home to Mrs. Clary, our sponsor.
Well, I think that's very nice. Thank you. All right. All right. And what's your name?
Schellinger.
You? Thank you.
Janelle Westermeyer, I'm a senior.
Okay, I'm sorry I can't talk to all of you. We got to move pretty fast.
Nancy Bowens, junior. Lori Hofer, I'm a junior.
Okay.
Vicky Maher, I'm a junior.
Well, you certainly can. Give your name and say hi to whoever you'd like to.
Vicky Griffin, hello, Grandma, Grandpa, Tom, and Miss.
Okay. And what's your name?
Becky Walters, junior. Hi, Kathy.
And you, dear?
Shirley Bounds, I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore, great, thank you.
Marianne Klingler, sophomore. Hi, Cindy, Paul, and Nancy. Hi, I'm Dee Dee Russell. Hi, Aunt Nuna.
Okay, and what's your name?
Melissa Eggert, sophomore.
Are you going to win tonight?
Yep. I'm home, I think. Ellie Primer, I'm a sophomore.
Okay, and finally, the last but not least.
Sue Bond, I'm a sophomore. Hi, Mom.
Okay, thank you very much, girls. What a great group of cheerleaders for the Geneseo High School team. And now let's go back to the field and watch some more of this great, big marching band from Geneseo High School. Okay, and now let's go back up to Tournament Central.
Thank you, Mike. And we're between halves in this, the 5th Illinois High School Association Class 3A Championship game. We'll have the stats along with some videotape highlights of the first half for you right after this.
While we're waiting for the second half kickoff, let's take a look at some of the statistics on the game thus far. If you look at your screen there, you'll see that Geneseo, as you are aware of, is leading 7-0 at the end of the first half of play. In the first down department, Geneseo doubled the total for McNamara. Geneseo with 8, McNamara had 4. Yards rushing, 50 for McNamara, 113 for Geneseo. Passing yards, 10 total for McNamara, 12 for Geneseo. And total yards, 60 yards for McNamara, 125 for Geneseo. Just about double the offense. They had 5 attempts, 2 completions for McNamara. Geneseo had 1 completion for 2 attempts. No interceptions on either side. Punch, 2 for McNamara for an average of 31.5. 3 for Geneseo, an average of 31.3 yards. 1 fumble by Geneseo, and they lost that fumble to McNamara. Yards penalty, here, of course, is the big difference. 50 yards for Geneseo, 21 for McNamara. Let's take a quick look now at some videotape highlights of the first half. They've been extremely successful coming off tackle, particularly off this left side. We'll see what happens.
Hofer does want to throw, and he does, and it's complete down to the 1-yard line. Time running out in this first half. 30 seconds to play in the first half as Geneseo comes out over the ball. They go with a full house in the backfield. They give off to Borkgren, and he is in for the touchdown. So through the highlights, you've seen how Geneseo got on the board. Bruce Borkgren going in from 2 yards out, and the conversion was good. A 7-0 ball game as we get set to start this second half of play in the Class 3A Championship final. 16 more minutes of football for these two here this evening. They've gone at each other in pretty good shape. We've seen some outstanding defensive and offensive play on both sides. Just to give you an idea of some of the individual stats for McNamara, Brian Crossley has rushed 12 times for 36 yards. Kelly O'Connor 2 for 3 yards. Rob Lyons at 3 times for 11 yards. For Geneseo, Bruce Borkman 11 carries, 46 yards. Kevin Morris, the fullback, 8 carries, 47 yards. Darren Callow 5 times for 13 yards. Lance Hofer, the quarterback, 3 times, 7 yards picked up. Hofer 1 for 2 in passing, a 12-yard completion, and that set up the touchdown. And Kelly O'Connor for McNamara, he is 2 out of 5, his longest being for 10 yards. So that is where we stand right now, 7-0, with one more half of football to play between Geneseo and McNamara of Kankakee. Mike Pyle, any comments before we get this second half kickoff underway? McNamara is going to get their hands on the football first.
Well, my only comment, Bob, is I missed that score as I was going down to the sideline, and that first half was pretty good football. As we said, good defense, good offense, but the only score, the one by Geneseo, right before the end of the half, and I missed the touchdown play.
You're on your way to do your job, heading down to the sideline. They will have back deep to return. Kelly O'Connor in the middle, flanked by Rory O'Connor on his left and Joe McNamara on his right. Lance Hofer set to kick off for Darnall of Geneseo. Geneseo on top here, 7-0 as Hofer comes into it. Hits it well. Sailing down to Kelly O'Connor, and they're going to run a reverse. They fake the reverse, and he gets out to the 31-yard line, and that is as far as he can go. They fake the reverse with Brian Crossley coming around, and he kept it himself and carried it upfield. Coming down on the kickoff, again after the 14-yard return to get in on the kickoff, was Jeff Chad. Also helping out on the play was Randy Farrell for Geneseo. At the 31-yard line, McNamara puts it in play. It is McNamara, Joe McNamara, wide to the left side. They give on the straight pop and a loose ball. Kelly O'Connor dived back in underneath around the 31-yard line, and let's see who came up with the football.
Okay, let's take a look at this play. And there it is, just knocked out of his hand.
It was Rob Lyon, who was the ball carrier.
Rob Lyon, who had the ball. It was popped out of his hand by the defender. And he scrambled pretty good to get back to it. You know, I'm looking at the, after a chance to look at the stats, you can see how the Geneseo defense stiffened up. Crossley had 33 yards in the first quarter and a total of 36 for the half.
Here is Brian Crossley, and he is hemmed in and down at the 31-yard line. May have sneaked back to the line of scrimmage, but didn't get any more than that, as they made the defense look good that time. Coming on the stop for Geneseo was Gary Boblett. He is number 59. See him standing there, and he got the initial hit. No gain on the play still now. Third down and a little bit better than 10 yards to go. The initial possession of the second half for McNamara of Kankakee. Joe McNamara goes wide to the right side. Gary Burr comes out to the left side. They split him off. Run a tight end on the right. And Kelly O'Connor wants to throw. And just as he threw, he was hit. It'll be a forward pass, just an incomplete pass. And again, the same fellow we just told you about made the play again. Gary Boblett.
Gary Boblett, the linebacker for Geneseo, who came in real well. Of course, that's what McNamara likes to use. They use the spread out pass or the rollout pass almost all the time when they go into their passing game, and Boblett just thought he'd come in and follow it.
Punting situation coming up. Gary Burr back to do the punting. Good rush, but he got it away. And a pretty good punt as he hung it up. And it is Norm Singbush with a fair catch back around the 39, 40-yard line. A 29-yard punt. Good hang time. So we're in the third quarter with the score. Geneseo 7, McNamara nothing. And our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. Geneseo, the team on your left in the dark jerseys, ready to put it in play. And let's pause 5 seconds for station identification.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, Television 9.
Lance Hofer has had a talk on the sideline with his head coach, and he is ready to put it in play just around the 40-yard line. Lloyd?
The only other time Geneseo started with good field position, they went on to score. Let's see what happens here with good field position.
They go back to the wingback set with Callow in motion, and the fake to the fullback, and Hofer keeps and gets a couple of three, maybe to around the 43-yard line, stacked up by a good, tough defensive line play on the part of McNamara. And the charge being led by number 50, Mark Cox. They picked up about 3, second down, and about 7 yards to go.
Bob, I really like that play because they do use that quick punch to the fullback so often, and the quarterback's just pulling it out and going over where the linebackers have left.
Now they pitch off to Borkman to the right side, to around the 47, 48, 49-yard line before he's finally ridden down. Ron Young, the defensive left end, and stringing out, coming out from a defensive tackle was Keith Wanowski.
There's Hofer on the pitch out to Borkman, following Hofer. Let's see the block that the quarterback throws. Well, he gave it a pretty good shot.
Kid Ron Young really strung it out for him to give Wanowski an opportunity to come around. He just wouldn't get out of the play.
They're a couple of yards short. 3rd and 2 coming up. In motion is Callow again. They give to Kevin Morris, the fullback, inside the 50 to about the 49, and that is near first down territory as they wedge it out over the left guard. It is first down without a measurement. First down, Geneseo.
Here we go. Kevin Morris, the ball carrier. Not much of a hole on that play. Also stumbled over one of his own blockers.
So it is first down, Geneseo on the 49-yard line of McNamara. Give off on the slant. Coming over is Borkman. Gets it inside the 45 to around the 47-yard line. Or 43, I should say. Finally knocked down, and they will mark it at about the 43-yard line. 7-yard pickup. Second down. We'll call it second down, a little bit better than 3 to go as the folks are dressed warmly for this one here this evening, but comfortably. Second down call now for Lance Hofer. Gives to Borkman again on the slant inside the 40 and stays on his feet and bulls his way to the 35-yard line. Good second effort. Coming up from the secondary for McNamara was Rory O'Connor.
Okay, let's look at that off-tackle play to Borkman. Good blocking by Kevin Morris, the fullback. And there's Borkman, but Kevin Morris just absolutely buried the defender.
Alan Wyatt, number 44, was in on the tackle as well. He goes out of the ball game. Kelly O'Connor comes in to replace him. There at the 35 of McNamara. The give to Borkman. Same play, same yardage, just about to the 30. And it was Kelly O'Connor coming up from the safety spot to drop him just inside the 29. That's a gain of slightly better than 5. We'll call it a 6-yard pickup.
I'll tell you, let's look at it again. Watch the block by Kevin Morris, the fullback. Borkman with the football. I'll tell you what, Kevin Morris is going to take Ron Young, that left end, home with him.
Second down, 4 yards to go at the 29 of McNamara. Into the middle to Kevin Morris, wedging his way out. And he gets it inside the 25 to around the 23-yard line. The stop was made by McNamara's Ed Platt, number 64, 6 foot, 165-pound senior. They'll mark it at the 23-yard line, and that is a first down for Geneseo as they continue to march.
Or better yet, what I should say is Borkman will take Kevin Morris home with him. He wants that man real close to him all the time, what he's doing for him out there.
Whistle on the play before they get the play underway. The wingback on the right side now is Derek Skiles, replacing Callow, who was on the sideline for Geneseo, number 41. The penalty here appears to be ready to be marked off against McNamara. And it is a 5-yard walk-off that moves it inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line. Becomes 1st and 5 at that point for Geneseo. Little hot chocolate, keep everybody warm down on the sideline.
Geneseo girls passing it around, trying to stay warm.
Embarrassed.
Wishbone set. Hofer back to throw. Now he's going to run, has room. 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Lance Hofer on the looked up, got outside the rush, Mike. He saw the rush coming in. He got outside the rush and was able to turn it upfield and goes in from 18 yards out.
At the last minute, coming out of that pocket, and Lance Hofer, as good a runner as he is a passer, saw the opening and went for it. There's the replay on it. As you saw, he took a look downfield and tucked it away.
18-yard carry. Touchdown for Lance Hofer. He will try the point after. Holding for him, Brad Fleming. Snap back. And a whistle on the play as they got ready to put the ball down. See what the call is here. A delay of the game call. It'll be made against Geneseo, cost them 5. So it'll make the extra point try by Lance Hofer slightly longer, 5 yards longer. They'll mark it back at the 8-yard line. 7:02 to play in this third period. And an 18-yard scamper by the quarterback, Lance Hofer. I'm not sure whether the play was designed that way or not, Mike, or whether he intended to throw, saw everything in his favor, and just decided to tuck it and go. The mark is placed at the 15-yard line. Here's Hofer's kick. It is good. And that, with 7:02 in this third quarter, the score now, Geneseo 14, McNamara nothing, and our coverage of the State High School Football Championships will continue after this. Geneseo, folks, with their #1 sign, they have a 14-point edge in this 3A championship game at this point. Back deep to return for McNamara. In the middle is Brian Crossley, flanked on his left by Rory O'Connor, on the right by Joe McNamara, and Lance Hofer set to kick off for Geneseo. 14-0 Geneseo lead at this point. Pretty good kick, sailing down to Crossley at the 13. This is Brian Crossley with a good return, and on his feet all the way across the 35 to around the 37-yard line before he's finally tracked down. And again, making the stop for Geneseo, as he has done on each kickoff, is Jeff Chad. Nice job, 24-yard return.
Let's look at Crossley. Let's look at Brian Crossley on that kick return, right up the middle, behind the wedge. A little bit of an opening, but brought down there by Dan Carton, the ever-present Dan Carton.
Dan Carton and Jeff Chad combining for the stop at the 37, first down for McNamara. Kelly O'Connor stumbling a bit. Now he wants to go, and does for a couple of yards, but no more. Like he wanted to throw more than anything, but really didn't have very good balance and decided to tuck it and try to go. Randy Russell made the stop. The 4A game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That'll be a dandy, and the 5A game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So we have 2 good ones for you tomorrow. Hope you'll join us for the telecast.
He had his cousin Rory O'Connor deep on that one. Let's see what happens here.
Second down and about 8. O'Connor wants to throw, and Kelly pops it up, and it is incomplete. Coming down and across was Rory O'Connor, and going deep was Gary Burr. And the ball was kind of thrown into a no-man's land area, indicating perhaps that Roy did not carry his pattern as deeply as Kelly had intended for him to. It'll bring up third down and still about 8 or 9 yards to go. And a penalty flag that we didn't catch earlier. Now it's going to be marked off against Geneseo for long yardage and a first down. Did you see a roughing the passer call on the play? Let's see. Personal foul. Roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer.
So it is first down at the 47-yard line of Geneseo. McNamara getting a break here, picking up some valuable yardage. And moving into Geneseo territory as they line up in their eye. That is Joe McNamara, wide to the right side at the top of your screen. The give to Brian Crossley, the tailback. Spinning and getting his way down inside the 40 to around the 38. He will be shy of first down yardage by about a yard or so, but not much more. Mr. Carton was there again on the stop, and coming up from the secondary, number 12, Lance Hofer.
Kelly O'Connor's had good success as a passer all season, but we have seen him having trouble tonight, and I have to say, Bob, it's because of that pass rush. So many times we've seen him just throw that ball up in the air because he doesn't have time to find his receiver. The pass rush is the reason that passing game isn't working.
9-yard pickup on the previous play, and there's Rob Lyons getting some more on a first down inside the 35 to around the 34-yard line, and that's a first down for McNamara. Slanting over the right side. Up from the secondary to help out on the stop was Randy Russell. There's Rob Lyons, number 33. He picks up the first down for McNamara inside the 35-yard line. They're between the 34 and the 35, and a first down call coming up for McNamara. And the Fighting Irish are on the move. Quick pitch, Brian Crossley. Nope. Good pursuit, good coverage. They allowed him virtually nothing. Stopped him just about at the line of scrimmage. Is that number 31 again on the stop? No, it was not. That was number 41 coming up from the secondary on the right corner. And that is Derek Skiles who made the hit on Brian Crossley. They got about a half yard, but not much more. Second down, still 9 yards to go. Joe McNamara leaves the huddle going wide to the right side. They go with the double tight end set, and it's Rory O'Connor who's tight on the right side as the backs are offset. Kelly O'Connor wants to put it up, and he does, and it was almost picked off. Coming across to get his hands on it for Geneseo was Randy Russell, number 23, but it popped off his hands, incomplete. It'll bring up third down and 9 at the 33-yard line of Geneseo.
Just a good play by the linebacker Randy Russell that time. O'Connor had plenty of time to pass on his sprint out, but didn't see the linebacker Russell coming across, who really had a chance to take it all the way if he could have held on to it.
They have Joe McNamara again wide to the right side. Double tight end set out of the eye. Again, O'Connor to throw. Looks for Burr. Has Burr deep, and he can't handle it. Just off his fingertips, and the defensive man Norm Singbush may have gotten a hand on it. If we get a replay, perhaps we will.
Let's take a look at the secondary on the play. Here we go. See him? There's a man, just one receiver on that side, running free, and he is open. Great play by Singbush, getting a hand on that football.
Just barely got a hand on it. Gary Burr, number 83, was the intended receiver. Fourth down play, still 9 yards to go. They will go into a punting situation as Gary Burr drops back to kick. Norm Singbush will be in single safety for Geneseo. And now they're going to throw from that formation. And Burr, running to the right, needs 9 and stumbles out to around the 27, 26-yard line and fails to pick up the first down as he ran into the sideline. Running him out of bounds on the far side was Derek Skiles, number 41. So it appears as though Geneseo is held again, and they're going to take over right around their own 26-yard line. You know, the sponsors are very happy.
You know, the sponsors are happy to be able to bring these championship high school football games on television, and they'd like to hear from you about our coverage. Your thoughts and comments will prove helpful in the future. Just drop us a card or a letter. Write to Football, Box 95, Chicago, Illinois, 60690. Bob, we missed a play there, but let's give that address again. That's Football, Box 95, Chicago, Illinois, 60690. We'd like to hear from you.
Well, we saw a good defensive play by McNamara. A loss on the play of about 3 yards. Borkman was the carrier on the play. They move it back to the 24. Loss of a couple of yards. We'll call it second down and 12. And for McNamara, leading the charge and being able to knock him down was Rory O'Connor. So a second down and 12 situation. Facing Geneseo back on their 24. We're in the third period. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play in this third quarter. They shuttled the play carriers in there. In and out. Coming out was number 79. Scott Rice. And carrying the play in was Mitch Fickley. Lance Hofer. Back to throw. And he will. And he goes for Singbush, who is deep, and it's off his hands and broken up. Back covering on the play, number 44 was Alan Wyatt, and number 7 was Jim Girth. Back both to rule it incomplete and bother Norm Singbush and prevent the completion on the long pass play. It'll bring up third down and 12.
Geneseo certainly has everything in their playbook. The deep pass to Singbush. You know, he's a tall fella coming across there. He's 6 foot, only 175. He looks like he's even taller than that. He's slender, but he was open and a well-thrown pass and good defense, and Singbush just couldn't hold on to it.
They split Singbush off to the right side, have the wingman give inside this time, but whistles on the play as Kevin Morris, the fullback, comes up the middle, and play is stopped. Let's see what the call is here. Offside call against Geneseo. And apparently what they're doing is they're blowing the whistle when the man is lined up offside. If he is still offside at the snap, bang, the whistle is blown. Moves it back to the 19-yard line.
It must be that, Bob, because as we pointed out before, Geneseo's going so fast off that line on the snap, they could be catching a player just you know, going a little bit ahead of the ball, but I wouldn't expect them to call the play dead if that was the case.
Geneseo with a wingman on the right in the slot, and that is Darren Callow. They fake inside, give on the end around to Singbush. He fumbles the ball. It is picked up and returned down to about the 5 or the 4-yard line by McNamara, and they are set up in golden opportunity right now. And it was Gary Burr who picked up the fumble on the intended end around to Singbush. They return it to the 4-yard line. It is first and goal to go for McNamara with 3 minutes and 14 seconds to play. Take a look at this.
Yes, let's take a look at this play. It's a reverse, and Gary Burr picks it up. Gary Burr, one of the outstanding defensive players from his right end position. And there's Gary Burr.
The give to Brian Cressley. He gets to maybe the 4. Coming up and knifing underneath for Geneseo was Derek Skiles, number 41. Little or no gain on the play. McNamara with a golden opportunity to get in. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play in this third quarter.
That's the second mistake, big mistake, that Geneseo has made. They were able to hold the last time they fumbled and turn the ball over, but this is really a test so deep in their own territory.
Bob Reed is a little apprehensive on the Geneseo sideline. Give off to Ron Young that time, coming to the right side, number 20. Got a couple of more yards, moved it down to near the 2-yard line, coming over his own right tackle. They now have a 3rd and goal to go, and knifing underneath for Geneseo to stack up the interference was Bruce Westmeyer, number 77. So it is now 3rd down, and as we look at the yard marker across the way, they are at the 1-yard line. 3rd down and goal to go at the 1-yard line of Geneseo. McNamara, double tight end set, power eye to the left side, and the quarterback is going to keep, and it is Kelly O'Connor coming to the left side, but he doesn't get in. Stacked up and pushed back. They're going to gripe about it a little bit.
Kelly O'Connor slid down the line on that quarterback sneak. Instead of following his center, he thought he'd slide down a little bit. That little hesitation might have been enough to make the difference in not getting into the end zone. But as you can see, as we look at the ball down there, it looks like it's just inches away from the goal line.
4th down play. Kelly O'Connor with the power eye, strong right. O'Connor to Young, and he is in for the score. Ron Young on the slant, just a dive, kind of slipping off the left hip of the tackle. And he goes in for the score, and McNamara gets on the board with 1:25 to play in this 3rd period. And now they have a chance to cut that Geneseo lead in half. Rory O'Connor to try for the point after. Kelly O'Connor is the holder. The kick is good. The point after is good. It is now a 14-7 ball game. And we have a ball game on our hands in this 3A championship fray here. We're still in the 3rd quarter with a score, Geneseo 14, McNamara 7, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. And now, Mike Pyle, Geneseo has to deal with the momentum generated by this McNamara fumble recovery and touchdown.
Yes, because McNamara is right in that ball game, only 7 points down. Getting a touchdown on that fumble recovery, and Geneseo is all important for them right now to see if they can't slow them down and move the football.
Rory O'Connor's kick sails down the middle, picked up and taken at about the 25 and back up into the middle. Comes number 41 on the return, and that is Derek Skiles. Gets it up to around the 45-yard line. Good return, and they'll have good field position, a 20-yard return, and good field position to work from at the 44. So we'll see how Geneseo reacts to this kind of a situation now. They made a mistake. It cost them 7 points on the fumble recovery. They come out with Callow as a wingback on the right side. Still have the fullback Morris and Borkgren, and whistles blow at the snap of the ball, and one must anticipate perhaps another offside call, as they've done before. Let's see.
This time Geneseo is clapping their hands. But the flag was thrown in their backfield.
They are talking to the Geneseo captains.
Delay of the game call made against McNamara. Line of scrimmage, the 44-yard line of Geneseo. We have 57 seconds remaining to be played in this third quarter. 14-7. Geneseo and McNamara hooked up in an ideal championship fray in the 3A classification. The penalty moves it out to the 49. Delay of the game is the call against McNamara.
I think the officiating has just been outstanding in all three of the games we've seen so far. These gentlemen are certainly doing an excellent job down on that field.
It's very easy when you're working a game as well as playing it in a championship situation. Everybody kind of gets involved and everybody's adrenaline is flowing.
That's right.
First down and 5 for Geneseo at their own 49-yard line. Wing back on the right is Callow. That's number 43. He gets the handoff on the counter. Takes the football with him to about the 47-yard line. Thought for a moment that he might have lost it for a bit, but he took it with him. Got it to about the 47.
Let's take a look at Mark Cox, the linebacker. Meets his blocker well. Fights off the block and makes a tackle. Mark Cox is the inspirator, the motivator on this team. We watched him on that kickoff run down and shake hands with every man on the kicking team and run back across the field.
Kevin Morris, the fullback on the carry, and on the slant, moves it to near the 41-yard line, picks up the first down. It'll be about the 41, 42-yard line. Gary Burr, the defensive right end, got a piece of him first of all, and then he fell into the rest of the defensive line as we look at the scoreboard clock, which is counting down to the end of this third quarter in the 3A championship game here in Normal, Illinois, on the campus of Illinois State University. Geneseo out over the ball, may not get the play underway. 1 second to go, and there's the horn. They will not get it underway. So that is the end of the third quarter here at Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois at Illinois State University. With the score right now, as we will tell you, it is Geneseo leading by a score of 14-7 over McNamara of Kankakee. Tomorrow, 4A game will be at 1 o'clock. That'll be an outstanding play. And at the 5A game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We hope you'll join us for both telecasts here on WGN. We have seen some outstanding football today. Looking back at that delay of the game call, the only thing I can figure, perhaps it was too many men on the field. Mike, on the defensive side.
Yeah, I guess that would be a delay of game. I was wondering. I'm having a little trouble figuring out how that defense. And again, it was at the point of the snap. It was right at the snap. The ball was snapped, and they called it was a delay of game penalty. And I guess maybe it's the timing that has me so confused on why a defensive man would get a delay of game.
Geneseo at about the 42, and they give up the middle, and that is the fullback Kevin Morris, number 34, on the carry, and moves it down to about the 37-yard line before he is finally dropped. Making the stop for McNamara, number 69 on the tackle, Paul Burns, a 6-footer, 173 pounds. Gain on the play of about 6 yards, 2nd down and 4. In motion is Callow. Off to Kevin Morris, the fullback, hit by Mark Cox, number 50, right off the bat at 35, fell to maybe the 34-yard line, did not get the first down yardage. They will still be a couple of yards short of that. 3rd down and 2 for Geneseo. We're in the 4th and final period. 3A championship game, 14-7. Geneseo on top of McNamara of Kankakee. Earlier today, it was a 42-14 win for Arcola over Hampshire in the 1A championship game. And then Stockton defeated Carlinville 9-0 in the 2A championship game. The ball resting at the 34-yard line. Well, let's see. In the 4A game tomorrow, LaSalle, Peru, and Joliet Catholic. In the 5A game tomorrow night, Buffalo Grove and St. Rita of Chicago. Both outstanding games. 4 very good football teams vying for championships in their respective divisions. They give up the middle to the fullback, or to Borkman it is, and he carries inside the 34 to about the 32, but another flag is down on the play. And a motion penalty indicated against Geneseo that will cost them the first down yardage. Bruce Borkman got the first touchdown. He's number 35. He's been kind of a workhorse for this Geneseo outfit here this evening. He got their touchdown with 22 seconds to go in the first half, and the conversion was good, and they led 7-0 at halftime. And then Lance Hofer went in from 18 yards out on a quarterback keep as he had faked the pass, rolled out to the right, and took it in. Led 14-0, but a fumble recovery by Gary Burr of McNamara moved the ball to about the 2-yard line. of Geneseo, and McNamara went in to score, and flags are down again, and the whistle blows, and the play is stopped before it gets underway, as Hofer was apparently going to roll back to throw. He had a 3rd down and 7 yards to go facing him.
I think I know what the call is here. I don't know how they'll call it, but it looks like number 75 on McNamara, who is Keith Wanowski, did not have his mouth guard in. And as we all know, in high school football, it is required to have that mouth guard in your mouth. And they've got them attached to their chin strap or to their face mask. And that's what the official was pointing to when he blew that whistle. Wanowski did not have his mouth guard in his mouth. And, of course, that is a foul.
So it is now 3rd down. 7 yards to go. It's not a foul. They just stop the play and don't let the play get underway. The give goes off in the counter to Callow, and he gets the 1st down inside the 30 as the wingback countered back to the left side and goes down to the 28-yard line. The stop made coming up from the secondary was Jim Girth, a 5'10", 156-pound junior.
Here's the fake, and then to give to Bruce Callow. The fake setting up the play off tackle of the big opening. And a nice job of running by Callow.
Lance Hofer gives off to Borkgren. Good tackle made on the play. Good tackle coming up. Kelly O'Connor, very sure, coming up from the safety spot. Two-way player for McNamara, number 18. It's not easy to do. You catch a guy on the open field, you got to know your business and keep your eye on your target.
Borkgren. Kelly O'Connor, the quarterback on offense, coming up and making the tackle.
To about the 18. Mark Cox again. Number 50 is there. Number 78 knifing across from a defensive tackle spot. That is Chris Sloan, 6-footer, 195-pound senior for McNamara. Near 1st down yardage, but short. It's 4th down and a yard to go. The ball at the 18-yard line. Now McNamara, and they shuttle in the play. Number 79 brings it in.
I don't think Geneseo's been stopped on short yardage situation so far tonight.
See if they go with the full house. No, they go with the wingback on the right side, and that is Darren Callow. Backs offset to the left side, and Hofer's going to keep and try to slip off. They just kept shoving him to the sideline. I don't know whether he made it or not for sure. Knifing underneath from the defensive left side was number 75, Keith Wanowski. And it appears as though the favor has been returned by McNamara to Geneseo. Geneseo did that twice to McNamara in the first half, and here in a very key situation, they do it down here and take over the football. So we're in the 4th quarter.
He slides to the side. Wanowski and Mark Cox in to stop him and just push him back.
We're in the 4th quarter with Geneseo leading 14-7, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. First down takeover for McNamara, deep in their own territory at the 18, but a good defensive play as they refuse to let Lance Hofer slip to the outside and pick up the 1st down for Geneseo. So now a 14-7 ball game. Geneseo leading by 7, 8 minutes, 28 seconds to play. They're on their own 18. Kelly O'Connor brings them out of there. McNamara's 1st down rush from there, and it is Crossley who gets nothing, trying to go to the left side, tried to slip it off his own left tackle and had nowhere to go as they knifed underneath to knock him down. On the stop, Chris Ford, a defensive end on the right side. And again for Geneseo, Gary Boblett, who's playing head-and-head, nose guard with the offensive center. Here's a 2nd down and 10 play. The fake, and Kelly O'Connor's going to keep, and he slips as he tried to turn it upfield and may have lost a half yard or so. And I don't think he could have done much with it. They had him shut down in pretty good shape.
I've been anticipating the keeper since they've been keying on Crossley all night. He did it, but they were waiting for it.
Norm Singbush came up from the right side in the secondary and shut it down. They lost about a half yard. 3rd down, we'll call it 11 to go from back around their own 17-yard line. So again, Geneseo's defense has come to the fore in the first couple of downs. Joe McNamara trots over to the right side, number 25, to get in his flanker position. O'Connor fakes the give and wants to throw, and he has a man open. It's McNamara, and he couldn't handle it at the 30-yard line. It was thrown low. He slipped, but still had a chance to make the grab and couldn't hang on. It'll bring up 4th down in a punting situation for McNamara.
McNamara was wide open on that play. O'Connor faked the draw play, faked the draw, but just underthrew it a little bit. Was a well-executed play, except for the throw, which was just a little short. McNamara slipped.
Geneseo setting up for a run back here.
Gary Burrs, the punter, hangs it out of there and kicks away from Singbush, who's going to take it on a hop at the 48, gives ground back to his 45, gives some more. A flag is down. He's going to be dragged down around the 43, 45-yard line. Coming down on the stop for McNamara, and good pursuit was Keith Wanowski, but a flag is down, and there may be a penalty tacked here on the return. A punt of 35 yards. Norm Singbush trying to get it back, and Wanowski tracked him down at the 43. A personal foul is a clipping call against Geneseo, and that's going to move them back. Now here's a key series of defensive downs coming up for McNamara when Geneseo gets their hands on the ball after the penalty. We're in the 4th quarter with the score Geneseo 14, McNamara 7, and our coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. Kelly O'Connor, the McNamara quarterback, is 0 for 4 in passing here in the second half. But I mentioned a key series of downs here defensively for McNamara, Mike, because if they can shut them down, not give much here, force them to kick on 4th down without giving up very much, they stand a good chance of taking over in good field position, getting out of that tough position they were in when they had to give up the football.
Well, I think you're right. The key is holding it. Now, Mark Cox, the great linebacker for McNamara, was injured on that punt, and he's out of the ball game.
The fake up the middle, and Hofer's going to break it to the 35, to the 40, to the 43-yard line. He faked to the left, came back to the right side. They had a gap for him, a hole, and Jim Girth made the stop, number 7 for McNamara, and that is a 1st down pickup and a gain of about 15 yards on that quarterback keep.
I don't know if we can say it's the reason, but that's the side that Mark Cox plays his linebacker position from.
Lance Hofer was on the carry, the young fellow you saw pictured there on your screen. 42-yard line, 1st down, Geneseo on their own 42. Bring Callow in motion, and a whistle on the play as he comes up the middle, and let's see what the call is here. Didn't get much yardage at all. Playing in there as a linebacker now is number 51.
Cox
and that
just
is
came back in.
Todd Panazzo, but Mike Cox has come back in, and Todd has just left the ball game. The penalty appears to be against Geneseo. A 5-yard walk-off moves it back to the 37-yard line. Illegal procedure is the call with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to play in this game, and Geneseo holding on to a 14-7 lead over McNamara. At this particular point, Singbush goes wide to the right side. On the right wing is Darren Callow. The tight end sets on the left. Callow's in motion. Fake up the middle. Hofer keeps, wants to slip to the outside. Got a block at the 40, 45, to the 47, 48, 49, and ridden down by Kelly O'Connor. He doesn't pick up the 1st down yardage, but he did a heck of a job. And take a look at number 43, Mike, when the wingback comes around. Watch him take that corner.
There's Hofer on the ball. There's the block by Callow.
Wasn't much of a block, kind of a screen, but it helped him.
The timing was right.
Kelly O'Connor certainly is a sure tackler, isn't he? He's the last man seemingly out there between pay dirt.
He got about 12 on that keeper. 2nd down and about 3 yards to go. Hofer to his fullback, Kevin Morris, inside the 50 to the 49. He is still short of 1st down yardage. Knifing underneath was Gary Burr, the defensive right end, number 83, as you see him with his back to you, getting up. The ball will rest at the 49-yard line.
Gary Burr's a fine football player. Plays that defensive end position, I think, best, but he's not a bad offensive end, and as we know, a pretty good punter.
They say Burr is their big playmaker on defense.
And now a flag on the play.
The big play so far today has been penalties for them in key situations such as this.
Offside is the call. The defense had lined up offside. And so it'll be an automatic 1st down. They'll get a free 5 out of this, and it'll move it down to the 44-yard line in McNamara territory. And apparently the nose guard had lined up slightly offside.
Trying to think of a reason why we have had so many infractions on the line of scrimmage. The only thing I can think of, Bob, is just plain intensity in the pit.
So it's a first down now for Geneseo. Full house in the backfield. The give goes off to Borkgren, trying to fight his way, and does inside the 40 to around the 38-yard line. See if they whistle him down at about the 40. Perhaps they did whistle him down at about the 40-yard line, although he wedged it for a couple of more yards. Taking tacklers with him, he kept on his feet. Rory O'Connor from the defensive secondary coming up, and the last guy off the pile is the fellow who led the charge underneath. He's had a workout tonight, Paul Burns. Second down and about 4 yards to go. The give to Kevin Morris, the fullback. Hit as he gets to about the 37-yard line. Gary Burr, number 83, cracking in, and coming from underneath on the defensive line for McNamara was Tony Turo. They're still short of a first down by a couple of yards. Third down and a rather long 2 to go here for Geneseo. Time cranking down in this fourth quarter. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to play. With Geneseo, this club here, and the dark jerseys coming out, leading by a 14-7 count over McNamara. A couple of yards away from a first down. Lance Hofer, the quarterback, gives off to Borkgren, and he has the first down to the 30-yard line, or perhaps to the 29. It was Kelly O'Connor, number 18, and Rory O'Connor, number 43, coming up for the stop. They mark it just inside the 30. It's first down.
Let's take a look. Giving it to that first man, Borkgren, on that option play, which they've had the most success with. Have not had a lot outside. More with Borkgren taking it on that first handoff right up the middle.
Have an equipment change down on the sideline.
I don't know if Bob, I think you have mentioned it, but Coach Bob Reed has been calling every play.
They've shuttled their 2 linemen, number 79 and 62, shuttling back and forth, Mike, most of the time it appeared. That was Chris Ford, number 86, who had the equipment change, changed helmets. So it's first down near the 29. Hofer riding in, keeping, tucks it to 25, stumbles down to around the 22, 23-yard line. He was tripped up first by number 31. It came up, Scott Liggett, got him by an ankle, and then filling in on the play, Jim Girth coming up from the secondary.
Now let's watch the option play go the other way. Fake to Borkgren. Hofer turns it upfield, breaks a tackle, runs into his own blocker. The center, Gary Bobbitt.
Second down, about 3 yards to go, about the 23-yard line. In motion is Callow. Hofer keeps and goes over to the right side. They had a hold for him, and he gets it to the 15-yard line. And that is a first down for Geneseo. And Hofer faked to the left and tucked him, came back in between guard and tackle, and picks up the first down. Ron Young, number 20, in on the stop for McNamara.
Well, I've mentioned that play every time it's been run. That's really going to make a middle guard talk to himself. Paul Burns at middle guard, playing on Boblet to center, and he starts going after that first guy coming through, and that quarterback a couple times comes the other side. That's going to stop him from making a charge.
Hofer gives off to Borkgren. This time he is hit near the 16-yard line. Perhaps a loss on the play. Jim Girth, number 7, came up to make the stop. They'll mark it about the 16, loss of about a half yard, maybe less than that. A little bit better than 10 to go on a second down call coming up. We're down to 2 minutes and 57 seconds to play in this game. Geneseo on the march. They lead 14-7, trying to win their 3rd consecutive 3A championship. Second down, a little bit better than 10 to go. Near the 15-yard line of McNamara. Lance Hofer sliding to the left, pitches off to the trailing back, and that is Darren Callow, and he is to the 2-yard line before he was banged out of bounds by Jim Girth, who prevented the touchdown. But it'll be first and goal to go.
Let's take a look at it. Pitch out to Callow with lots of running room. Good execution on the pitch out because he was wide. A long pitch out, but it gave him the running room. He beats a man and then gets knocked out on the 5 yard.
There's a flag down in the backfield, however, and the play is going to be called back, I think.
Bruce Borkgren was downfield, number 35. You probably saw him lay a block and sustain his block on a man in the secondary to allow Callow to turn it for extra yardage, but it'll be nullified. The penalty call coming up against Geneseo, and it's going to be a long walk-off. It'll be 15 yards. It'll move it back to the 33-yard line. So rather than having a first and goal situation around the 2-yard line, we have a clipping call against Geneseo that sets it back at the 33-yard line of McNamara.
I'd like to remind our viewers to be sure to stay tuned for Jack Taylor and News 9 for highlights of all 3 IHSA games immediately following this telecast.
They have a second down and about 28 yards to go for the first down at the McNamara 33-yard line. Time remaining 2 minutes 16 seconds.
And I think we ought to start to mention, Bob, the homecoming plans for these teams. Geneseo in the lead 14-7 right now. They're not going to depart for home until after the 5A championship game tomorrow night. But there will be a pep rally at 1 p.m. on Sunday at the high school gym. Medals and introduction of players will take place at this time. They're due to arrive home early morning hours on Sunday, but the big pep rally at 1 p.m. Sunday at the high school gym for the Geneseo team.
We're being advised now they're going to add 13 seconds to the clock to make it 2:29 rather than 2:16. So it'll be 2:29 to play in this game. They will add 13 seconds to the scoreboard clock as you see it. And your score is 14-7 Geneseo.
And Bob, that gives me an opportunity to also tell everybody about the homecoming plans for Bishop McNamara of Kankakee, who will depart Normal Bloomington immediately after the game tonight. The route to be followed is Route 55 to Route 17. And, of course, a caravan of cars will follow the team. And they're going to have their celebration when they get home tonight. The details are breakfast and dance tonight as soon as they get back to the Knights of Columbus Hall on Indiana Avenue in Kankakee. And we expect that'll be midnight or a little later tonight.
So it is second down and 28 to Borkgren. Turns it to the outside, gets it down to around the 25-yard line. He was dragged down by number 61 for McNamara, and that is Tony Turo. Borkgren trying to slip to the outside, and Tony Turo tracked him down.
He's a tough runner, isn't he?
He is a real workhorse. He has carried the ball a lot. I don't know how many times he has carried tonight. He leaves them now with a third down and about 21 yards to go. The ball resting around the 26-yard line of McNamara. Inside 2 minutes at 1:47 to play, the scoreboard says. Hofer looking to hit somebody. And he does. And it's complete. And it's Singbush, Norm Singbush, down to about the 14-yard line. Kelly O'Connor made the hit on him. And that's as good a pass as we've seen all day today. He had some mustard on it and hit his man coming across on a good reception.
It certainly was. And let's take a look at it. Lance Hofer on the sprint out, throwing back, and he is a left-handed passer. Do you see that? On the sprint out to Singbush. I swear, Bob, I read Lance Hofer had his left thumb broken, and he threw 2 touchdown passes with his right hand last week.
We're in the fourth quarter, and the score is Geneseo 14. And McNamara 7-hour coverage of the state high school football championships will continue after this. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, LaSalle, Peru, and Joliet Catholic. And I must say that an old friend of mine, Joe Marini, the head coach at LaSalle, Peru, I've not seen for 22 years, will be working on the sideline trying to get his club a 4A championship. And at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, St. Rita of Chicago and Buffalo Grove. 2 outstanding championship games for you tomorrow. Hope you'll join us for the telecast.
And Joe Marini going against the team Joliet Catholic that's won 31 straight and 3 championships already.
And an outstanding coach in Gordon Gillespie. Here's Hofer. The left-handed quarterback rolls to the right, throws off balance and behind his man down at about the 4-yard line.
You know, Bob, I talked to the coach, and he says that Hofer actually is really ambidextrous. And he broke the thumb on his right hand. He normally threw right-handed, but he writes left-handed, plays baseball and tennis right-handed. He does anything he wants from either side.
Boy, has he been throwing left-handed all night?
He's been throwing left-handed all night.
I
Yes.
remember reading that those 2 touchdown passes he threw last week were with his right hand, which is the first game he played since breaking his left thumb 6 games ago.
A minute and a half to go. They've taken over on 4th down. O'Connor back to throw. Screen. And it is broken up on a fine defensive play. And had that one been picked off, it would have been 6. Over to break it up for Geneseo was Randy Russell, a 6-footer, 175-pound senior. And he just about had 6, but he knocked it down and prevented any kind of a gain by McNamara. 2nd down and 10 from their own 14-yard line. A minute 25 showing on the clock, 14-7. We've had a heck of a ball game in this 3A championship. O'Connor fakes the give up the right side to McNamara. Joe McNamara to the 28-yard line, hit immediately. Norm Singbush, number 29, made the stop. That's a first down, and they keep it going. A 14-yard pickup on the play. The line of scrimmage will be right around the 29-yard line. And now a timeout is called by the officials, and they say that the timeout is what? Called by McNamara or for the placement of the ball. Minute 17 seconds showing on the clock. And so they call for the timeout as McNamara stopped the clock, and down and over to the sideline goes Kelly O'Connor, wanting to talk it over offensively.
Well, gentlemen, they have a minute 17 seconds to get down the field. We generally have at least one overtime game when we're down there. Will it happen tonight?
Well, they have some yardage to pick up. They are right now 71 yards short of pay dirt with a minute 17.
That's a tall task against this tough Geneseo defense that they're going against, too. I believe that's their first pass completion, if I'm not mistaken, tonight. And they're recognized as a fine passing team, this McNamara.
Well, I think maybe in this half it could be. O'Connor completed a couple in the first half, but only 2.
So he trots back into his huddle. There you see the sideline and a very interested group of players on the sideline and their coach, Rick Zanini. Kelly O'Connor brings them out. They have a first down call. Little rush on him. He's going to be in trouble, and he's finally dropped. And it was Randy Russell who got him all the way back at around the 16-yard line. Randy Russell. They sent the blitz. They ran him through, and Randy Russell tracked him down all the way back around the 16-yard line.
Let's take a look at it. Kelly O'Connor trying to outrun that pass rush. Pretty good hit, but too much pressure. He can't get away.
They lose 13 on the play.
There's frustration right there.
O'Connor giving a lot of ground. Screen set up, intercepted, and batted down. Almost 6 points. And could it have been a lineman's dream? It was the defensive end on the right side who broke it up, and that is Chris Ford, number 86. That'll bring up third down, and still long yardage. 24 yards to go for the first down. We're inside a minute to play. 47 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock. 14-7, Geneseo and McNamara. They have been hooked up in a battle here tonight. Geneseo took the lead in the first half, went up 14-0, then fumbled, and McNamara came back to make it 14-7. Kelly O'Connor being rushed again, and he's being hit again back at the 5 or 6 yard line. And on the charge was Nick Panacucci. Panacucci it is. Nick Panacucci. Number 72. Take a look at Panacucci.
Here we go. There he beats his block right away. Panacucci, big pressure. Pressure on O'Connor all night tonight has been just that way.
Injured player on the field is number 73, and that is Steve Blank. He is coming off under his own power, limping a little bit.
You think he cares about that injury right now?
At this particular point, 28 seconds to play, and he's been in there all night long, and he's acquitted himself well.
It's all
a good
over
ball
now.
game this has been. Really has been an outstanding game.
2 good football teams playing out there, and I think Geneseo has shown the power that is leading them to their 3rd consecutive 3A championship title.
I talked to Del Nicholas down there, the athletic director, and he was saying the reason that they consistently have good football teams at Geneseo, I wondered where all this talent comes from, is because just like Joliet Catholic, whom we'll see tomorrow, they have a good feeder program. In grade school, they have excellent football programs down in the Geneseo area, and he says this is the key. They are constantly feeding good football players in there, and we're seeing the finished product out here tonight.
I think we're also looking at a team, Floyd, that's probably going to be in the 4A class next year. Their size has gotten up there. They're in a conference where they qualify for 3A, but I think they may be a 4A team. Look at this play.
A little razzle-dazzle now. Watch the setup here. O'Connor's in the end zone. They're going to rush him. They can't get him. He is throwing intended for Ron Young up at about the 35. Skipped it to him on one hop. But they'll have to give it up back around their own 6-yard line on that 4th down and long yardage play. 4th and 33.
Here we see it. Snap a little high on that direct snap, which slowed him down a little bit. Almost gets hit there. Takes it. Now what does he do? He's all out there. Pretty hard to throw that ball too well on a dead run.
Had it been up a little bit, Young was there. He was in front of the defenders. But it's going to be first down. Geneseo about the 6-yard line of McNamara. 21 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock here at Illinois State University. No changes on the offensive set for Geneseo. Lance Hofer still runs them at quarterback. Gives to Bruce Borkgren over the right side. Gets to around the 5, perhaps the 4. Knifing over his own right tackle. A look at the clock as it continues to count down. They may not get another playoff. 14-7 Geneseo, and they feel victory in their grasp. They count it down. The fans start to pour out onto the field, and Geneseo has won their 3rd consecutive 3A championship here tonight, beating McNamara of Kankakee by a count of 14-7. Heck of a football game. We'll have the trophy presentation coming up after a while. Give you a quick check on the scoring. Geneseo led at halftime by a score of 7-0 as they scored with only 22 seconds to play in the first half. Bruce Borkgren went in from a couple of yards out. They converted and made it 7-0. And then in the third quarter, they got their second touchdown. Lance Hofer, who had an outstanding night as the quarterback and leading the Geneseo club, went in from 18 yards out on a rollout to the right side. But then a fumble and a recovery allowed McNamara to recover deep at about the 2-yard line of Geneseo. They went in for the score as Ron Young took it in from a yard out. Their point after was good. It was 14-7, and that is the way they played the remaining part of the fourth quarter. So we'll be back with the trophy presentation. It'll follow after this brief message. Well, that gives you an idea of the happiness displayed here by the Geneseo crowd as they see their team win a 3rd consecutive 3A championship in the Illinois State High School Football Championship playoffs here at Illinois State. And they disheartened somewhat and disappointed, but certainly should not be too much so. The McNamara folks from across the way, their team acquitted themselves very well. It was a tight ball game all night. Both clubs capitalizing on mistakes and both clubs forcing mistakes of each other. And we just saw a heck of a game. A 7-0 lead for Geneseo at halftime. They had to battle back and hold on defensively. McNamara kept the pressure on them after they made it a 14-7 ball game with only a minute 25 to play in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, though it was scoreless, both teams had to come up with some outstanding play defensively to prevent any more damage. So the Geneseo club has won the Class 3A championship for the 3rd straight year, and the Maple Leafs have done themselves very proud. Lance Hofer had an outstanding night as their young quarterback in pacing their offense throughout the evening. Some outstanding defensive and offensive play on the part of both sides. And we saw a great day of football. The Class 1A, 2A, and 3A championship games. Winning the Class 1A was Arcola 42-14 over Hampshire in our first afternoon game. In the second afternoon game, Stockton won over Carlinville 9-0 in another fine effort. And here tonight, in the third game of the day, it was Geneseo winning over McNamara of Kankakee by a score of 14-7. And you really can't ask for much more than we saw here today. Great intensity on the part of all the youngsters playing. Not only the game here tonight, but the youngsters who played earlier this afternoon. When you get into championship play, you see some mistakes, and generally they pay off in one way or another for one team or the other. But the mistakes that are made, I guess, at the high school level, you say they are mistakes of commission rather than omission, because they are trying desperately to do the right thing and get it done. We will have our trophy presentations before too very, very long. A large crowd out on the field, as you can see, surrounding the Geneseo players who have won this championship for the 3rd straight time. And it's the mark of a good football team that can come back and defend their title year after year after year, and they have done it. And now all they can look forward to is now to come back and maybe defend it for a 4th time. Well, it's time to pay official tribute, and we will do that. Time to pay official tribute to the state champions of the Illinois State High School Association Class 3A football tournament. This is a big moment for the winners. Assisting with the trophy presentations is Donald K. Robinson, IHSA Assistant Executive Secretary in charge of football, and also John Dowling, Secretary of IHSA, both members of the Board of Directors of the Illinois High School Association.
On behalf of the member schools of the Illinois High School Association, it gives me a great honor to make this presentation first to Coach Rich Zananti. We have a medallion for the second place in Class 3A. Congratulations, Coach. We have medallions for all the members of the team that the coach can pass out later. And Captains O'Connor, Young, Wanowski, we have the second place trophy, Class 3, Kankakee, Bishop, McNamara. Face the camera, man, face the camera.
Right.
What should I say? We played our hearts out for this, I must say. Toughest game Geneseo ever played.
And now the Geneseo Maple Leafs, Coach Bob Reed. Coach Reed. Coach, on behalf of the Illinois High School Association, its board of directors, administrative staff, and the 837 member schools, it's my pleasure to present to you this gold medallion, which signifies the championship in the 3A. I understand this is the third year in a row. And now, for each member of the Geneseo squad, there is a medallion and the assistant coaches. And now will captains Randy Russell and Chris Ford. Randy and Chris, this trophy signifies the championship in the 3A 78 football championships. Congratulations. You've got a super team.
Well, there you have the 3A champions. Stay tuned now for Jack Taylor in News 9, and we'll give you replays on all the championships. And now this is Floyd Brown, along with Bob Starr and Mike Pyle, saying so long for now. This telecast has been brought to you by Illinois Bell, working to keep your telephone system the best in the world. True Value Hardware, more than just a name, it's their way of doing business. And by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Chicago. See you tomorrow afternoon at 1. Our administrative engineer here in Normal has been Fred Geyer. Barbara Luce, George Washbush, and Joe Cornejo were our assistant directors. Alan Hall has been our associate director. The directors of this telecast has been Bill Lotzer and Arnie Harris. Portions of this program were mechanically reproduced. This telecast has been produced by NW Air, ABH International. Our unit managers have been Darrell Blue, Larry Waters, Mark Kelly, and Henry Sajowski. Our producer has been Don Aries. Our executive producer, Rick Hawley. This has been a WGN Television 9 sports presentation.
Saving